Welcome to Turning Tuesday. This week I'm making a claret ash bowl. Now, Turn and Oz is a hobbyist woodworking channel. I do a lot of projects, usually to order to friends, colleagues, or as gifts. A lot of the stuff I work on is Australian hardwoods, and I primarily work through the actual process that I do while turning. So this video I actually released as a part of 3 bowl series, and that had no voiceovers. So throughout this one I'm going to be explaining what I'm doing. As a hobbyist woodworker, I do make a lot of mistakes, and yeah, so let me just start off with saying what I'm doing here is roughing it out. You may see out on the edges of the bowl there's a bit of ghosting, and it looks like it's warped, because it is. It's most definitely off center, and that is rocking the lathe. So what I'm focusing on here is squaring up the base, and from there I will start to work on the sides. And once it's nice and round, I can get the speed up a bit more and get it cutting absolutely gorgeously. Right now I'm using the big wings of the swept-back bowl gouge to act as a scraper and try and use as much of that surface area as possible to get it round faster. Bowls are significantly easier to turn once they're round because the lathe actually behaves. Except in this case, and you'll see why. So, as I'm just bringing that wing around, just bringing it in, I do go off several times and sharpen. But as you can see, I'm mostly around here, so I'm just slowly increasing that speed. You'll see my hand dip down there to the dial to increase the speed a little bit. And yeah, as you can see, throwing some beautiful shavings as I go, and starting to get that bowl shape now. Doing a couple of push cuts both directions, and giving a little scrape to flatten that bottom. Using the nose of the tool and gliding the bevel up the side, just trying to bring that in and get a nice bowl shape. At this point in time, I still don't know what shape I'm going to go with. I was going for originally a nice wide bowl, so wide at the top, wide at the base with a gentle slope. The wood and I decided to go a different way with that. And I'll show you why here in a bit. But this piece of wood is one that I was cutting, and while I was cutting it on the bandsaw, it actually had a lot of figure, so chatoyance, and I could see it with the naked eye with no finish on, and I was very excited as to what could be inside this bowl. Now these are a couple of real-time clips, just moving up the side of the bowl, getting some nice shavings, and yeah, just getting there slowly. So these pieces of claret ash have been sitting on my shelf for, what's it been, 3 years now, and yes, I've got probably 40 bowls worth sitting under my storage just behind me. I need to make some more. We'll get rid of some of that wood. I'm sure the wife would love to get rid of some of that wood. Anyway, as you can see, I'm really using the wing and the nose there. So I'm just using the front 2/3 of that and just bringing to the side. So there's still a little bit of ghosting up on the top edge there. And right now I've stopped for a piece of action. I went and had some food and came back out. Now, at this point in time, the lathe was acting quite weird. I did stop and investigate what was happening. And what it turns out to be is the density of this wood, the specific piece of wood, was ridiculously hard, and it was throwing the lathe off balance. And so I stopped, I had a look at it, I investigated what was causing it, and the ultimate outcome was that it was just density. You may be seeing this and thinking, that's not a traditional bowl shape, and I would agree with you. I would probably call this a flared cone shape. Usually a cone shape's either steeper or a bit wider, almost like an OG. But in this case, I just worked with the wood and saw some features of it that I really enjoyed, and so I just worked with that and tried to honor the tree. When I'm working with a piece of wood, I might go in with an original plan, and sometimes I'll stick to it. However, in this case, based on who the client was, I knew they'd appreciate the piece of wood for what it was. So what I focused on here was honoring the tree, and simply put, that is trying to let it tell its story. So trees have lived a very long time, and they've seen a lot of things. The rings and the figure that develops through that time, it's something that I really enjoy because it tells a story. So every single wrinkle, every single little figure line, all the density, tells of the hardships, tells of the weather, tells of just exactly what was happening throughout the time that it was alive. So trying to give this bowl something to tell the tree's story and the hardships that it went through is where I was focusing. Now I am speeding through the sanding here because I find it boring. As you can see, I am power sanding with a 2-inch sanding disc. So what I did was I sanded from 180 up to this one. I think I went up to about 1,000 grit, and that allowed a nice shine to come out before I applied some chopping board oil. So as you can see, those grain lines are really starting to appear, and it's beautiful. So as I'm just applying a bit of beeswax there, I'll now melt it in, and we'll have a look at the exterior of the bowl. Such a beautiful little piece. Now, some of you may have seen the short that I released, or you may have seen the video that I released a while back. Something's about to happen here, and I'm calling it a UFO. Let's see that again. Whoops. So what happened there was I tightened one of the screws on the chuck. I didn't go and tighten the other. That was complete user error, and unfortunately that means I have to go and touch it up and fix the outside as well as the inside. And yeah, so as you can see here, just using a very gentle scrape on the outside, not really changing the shape, just trying to get a nice light shaving off and take any of those bruises or marks out of it. Doing a push cut across the face, and now I'm going to core this out. Now, I did do a depth hole on this one, as I did with the other two. Depth holes aren't something that I've done with bowls before, but I did in this case because it was recommended from Sid. Sid's Repurposing, if you haven't seen, is another great YouTube channel, and he is based in South Australia. He hosts the Turn SA events, and yeah, if you want to see what other turners are out there making, other Australians, then absolutely give him a follow and see what's going on. Beautiful long shavings coming off this one, and coring it out very swiftly. Nice long beautiful cuts down in there, and now I'll just give it a little bit of a side swipe here and try and take any of those lines out that I can do with the tool. I don't have a bowl scraper for that purpose. I do need to pick one up, but I haven't done it yet. Now, as I said at the start, I am a hobbyist. I'm fairly new to bowl turning, but some of these bowls are coming out absolutely beautiful. If you've stayed and watched this far, then let me know what your favorite part is, or let me know if you've got any tips. As you can see, this is really soaking in that chopping board oil, so it will take quite a few coats, because it's soaking straight in. It's not even pretending to think like it's still moist. So I put 4 or 5 layers of that on, and then I'm going to put some beeswax and melt it in. And yeah, that's just coming up an absolute treat. And I'll do a second layer and use a little buffing pad. Didn't really add anything of benefit then, but this is such a beautiful piece. And yeah, look at all that detail through that life of the tree. Thank you for watching. If you've liked this, please consider subscribing or leave me a comment as to what you think I could do better. And yeah, look at that figure on the right hand side there. A couple of nice inclusions throughout this bowl. It's come out an absolute treat. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.